Well, last night, former Prime Minister Tony Abbott articulated what so many of us are thinking, with Albanese's China charm offensive kicking off on Saturday and his evasiveness at every turn on Trump. Whose side is he actually on? Here he was on Credlin last night.
It's hard to know whose side this government is on. Is the Albanese government more on the side of communist China, or is it more on the side of the country that's been the leader of the free world all these decades?
And here was a kowtowing Albo yesterday trying to justify his skewed priorities.
I look forward to going to Shanghai, Beijing and Chengdu, which I will visit from Saturday. China's an important trading partner for Australia. 25% of our exports go to China.
Joining me now is Pauline Hanson, One Nation Leader. Pauline, always great to see you. What in the world is the PM doing here?
Well, look at his past, Caroline. He was very much closely aligned with the Communist Party in his younger days. I don't believe he's changed that at all. And he talks about, we will decide what's the best for our country, even if your defence spending, you know, just over 2% at the moment. And of course, America's saying put it up to 3.5%, and NATO is saying 5%. I think 5% is a bit much for our economy to actually handle. But he's not even talking about it, negotiating. He says, we will do what we think is best for our country, for our own sovereignty. Well, in our national interest, it is in our interest to look at improving our defence spending. It's only $57 billion at the moment. He thinks, oh, that's not much at all. If people understood how much it is, you know, for warships, submarines, defence spending is not very much at all. So, and to go over to China, he has a close association with Xi Jinping. And I also say, he is shocked and embarrassed that he hasn't been able to have a conversation with Donald Trump or to actually meet with him. Now, this is going to be his fourth visit and going over to China. So that tells you something about his association with China. And even Rudd had it. All, you know, this is Labor association with it, and he ridicules the coalition or anyone else. He's not the right man making right decisions at the moment that we need, especially when we see China is growing bigger all the time in their military, in their trade, control of this area of the world. They've gone to the Solomons, they've done a deal with them. I don't trust the Chinese, and they want to get their hands on our country, but not only that, in the AI. So if the Albanese government is trying to get land bridge up at the Port of Darwin, I hope they don't do a deal to allow China into Australia to do with anything to do with our communications, because what I've even heard, they don't trust them anyway, because any Chinese workers at the Parliament House, they are followed around by security because they don't even trust them, even in Parliament House. So I don't trust the Chinese, what they want to do or achieve or what they want to get out of Australia. And I don't trust our Prime Minister.
Oh, but fear not, Pauline, fear not. I know you say don't trust them, but apparently we can all rest easy about this China trip, because we hear today that Jim Chalmers has pre-warned Beijing there will be no relaxing of foreign investment rules. Does that set your mind at ease?
Not in the slightest. Everything that they've told us all through the election, all this rhetoric, all the promises, all the scaremongering, I wouldn't trust both of those men to even lie straight in bed. And that's how I feel about them. They haven't got my trust or belief in them at all.
Well, meanwhile, it was panic stations in Labor today. The Albanese government is urgently seeking details on Trump's threat to slap tariffs of 200% on pharmaceuticals and 50% on copper, as I talked about at the top of the show. Here was Trump on that.
We're going to give people about a year and a half to come in, and after that they're going to be tariffed if they have to bring the pharmaceuticals into the country, the drugs and other things into the country. They're going to be tariffed at a very, very high rate, like 200%. We'll give them a certain period of time to get their act together.
Pauline, Jim Chalmers seemed seriously spooked by this today, but this is exactly what happens when you don't manage key diplomatic relationships, isn't it?
It is, that's true, and 200% is hell of a cost, but that cost is actually, tariff is a tax put on that product going into the country. So then what happens is the people who buy that product, that Australian product, are going to be paying more for it. Now remember, the Australian dollar is 65 cents to the American dollar. Well, I say that we only get 65 cents per American dollar. So the exchange rate is in their favour if they're buying anything that is Australian. Caroline, right from the beginning in 1996, when I delivered my maiden speech, I questioned the tariffs. Tariffs have destroyed our own industries and manufacturing in this country. We've allowed for cheap products to come in from overseas. We sell them the raw materials and we're buying back the finished product. That's why the high trade that we have with China, we're selling them all the product that we need. We don't have industries and manufacturing anymore that we used to make the white goods and cars and steel, everything in this country. We don't do it anymore. We've destroyed the productivity of this nation. So in some ways, I agree with what Trump's doing. He wants to get investment back into his country. He wants to pay down his debt. He wants to get employment high, and he wants to be self-sufficient so he's not importing from other countries. All we've done all these years is propping up China to grow their economy, grow their military, and then turn around and use it against us. Mark my words.
Yeah, well, he did, campaign on that, America first, and he's doing it. We just need to get a meeting with him now. Pauline Hanson, thank you so much for your time.